DreamHack Open is brought to you by Corsair, Monster Energy, Esport Management, and GG Bet.
It might have been a long day, but it's not quite done yet. One more game will be played here on stage before we wrap things up for day one here at DreamHack Open Rio 2019. Just getting some beautiful shots of the city, which we've had a very small opportunity to see. And, you know, I came into this event with a lot of warnings from people like, hey, be careful. I love it here. I've actually had a lot of fun going to the beach, having some of the local food. Those empanadas yesterday, so good.
Those empanadas were nice and crispy, just the right
and
amount
then
of
those
cheese.
fries you had those fries.
Listen, it's all about the caipirinhas.
Caipirinha.
It's all about the caipirinha.
Caipirinha is really good, and I've had it before I came here, and I will have many more before I leave. It's definitely
Sounds like
the
a
go-to.
plan.
Yeah, maybe that's the plan tonight.
We've got an early day tomorrow,
It's an early day tomorrow,
We've
dog.
got an early day tomorrow.
All-nighter?
Relax. Let's all take a deep breath.
Let's all calm down.
Let's take a throwback to old lands when we would stay up all night.
Oh,
you know,
boy.
this last series, this last game that we have, again, just an explainer, we're going to be running 2 games simultaneously, so one game will be played off-stream. So we're going to see Avangar, INTZ played on-stream. The other game will be played over in the practice room. You can actually watch that through the GoTV if you want to see what's going on with that
Dude, this
game.
jazz is getting me right now.
Oh.
Can you hear this? I don't know if everyone can, but it's just, I'm just into it right now.
I mean, do you have like a history as a jazz kind of guy?
I am from New Orleans. Like, I was born and raised there, and obviously New Orleans is super... Oh, it's gone now. Well,
well, that's
They
a shame.
did it just for you.
I feel like they did it just because I said something. Appreciate you.
You shouldn't have said anything. Now you can't. This is why we can't have nice things. So now looking at this game, Avangar came into this with probably one of the tougher first matchups, playing against a team in E-United. But the same could be said for their opposition having to play against Furia earlier.
Sure. No, I think that's 100% true. I mean, I think that a lot of us thought that it would be Avangar versus Furia in this game. I think INTZ definitely pulled a crazy little upset there over Furia, so definitely tip your hat to them. They played really, really well in that Mirage game, whereas Avangar, it took them a while to get here. That went to 3 overtimes against an E-United team who was very inexperienced. We thought Avangar were going to kind of have an easier time there, but they really had a labored effort to make their way to this winner's game. As you can kind of see the bracket there, moving over United Furia over to INTZ. United Furia will be playing in that elimination match. We talked about how Group A was brutal, right? I mean, when you look at the teams that are in this group,
Gauntlet, yeah.
definitely, have to run the gauntlet to make it to the playoffs from this side.
They definitely did. But, man, INTZ. Is it INTZ or is it INTZ,
You
Dust?
could go either way.
Okay,
I have
let's
no
go
idea.
with INTZ. INTZ,
right.
they did look so impressive. And you got to ask at this point, was it just the momentum based, or are they that practiced on maps like Mirage and they just feel so comfortable that they're able to pull out victories like that?
I mean, they definitely had momentum going for them. Like, the crowd seemed to be a little bit more behind them than they were behind Furia. And on top of that, like, they didn't need the crowd.
Yeah.
They were their own crowd. They had a crowd behind them. One person, their coach. He was getting so amped up for every single win. You know, Elapoka, who has a history of coaching as well, he used to coach the LG squad. So he knows what he's doing, and he was really, we actually asked him in the post-game interview, like, how instrumental is he? And he said he's huge because he's keeping us happy, he's keeping us lighthearted, and you could see that, like, every time they were, even when they lost, he looked like he wanted to celebrate. The only time we saw restraint was after the pistol. When he's like, oh, come down. Like, we didn't just win the major. We're like, we only just won the pistol. Let's take things down a notch. We are going to get started on the vetoes here in just a minute, so we'll see what map we're going to end up on. Dust, I'm sure you have a possible prediction for map.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see a nuke ban come out of Avangar here pretty soon. And then other than that, I mean, I think both these teams do like playing Mirage, so you definitely could see that. There's a slight chance for like an overpasser train, but...
What are my odds of a Vertigo? That's the only one that matters.
The odds of it being banned last by someone is pretty high. I will say that, because we've seen that pretty much every game. As far as it actually getting played, I would be pleasantly surprised.
I think that dream needs to be on the back burner just for tonight, but tomorrow I'm going to be hopeful with you.
I'm gonna continue to hold out. I want a Vertigo game on that stage, and you know what? When that happens, I will go sit out there and watch it just because I want to see it from a crowd's perspective to appreciate it completely.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
It's not in its usual
50-50. It could
Surely.
happen. Oh, you hate to see it.
So
Mirage
hate to see it.
again.
Well, you know, It's just the classic, man. Inferno and Mirage are just probably the most played maps right now, just in general, especially now that Cash is off the board and Vertigo's iffy. Not many people like to play Nuke. It's pretty much these two maps and like Inferno, Mirage, and maybe Overpass that kind of get a good bit of play.
For sure, and INTZ, they had such a strong performance on Mirage, and I think this benefits them a lot, actually, being able to play that same map in the second time. I think we've been seeing a lot of that in these BO1 tournaments, right? Is trying to maintain the same consistency with the maps on that, at least on that first day, not give your opponents too much time to be able to adjust, and that's exactly. It's going to benefit INTZ here, I believe. Yeah,
I mean, the thing with Mirage is INTZ, like, again, they haven't had very many games, period, with this lineup, so it's a really small sample size to draw from. But it certainly looked good today against Fury on Mirage, and in general, they are very comfortable. But you're going up against a team like Avangar. That's probably one of their strongest maps on lane as well. I mean, the only teams they typically lose to are top 5 teams in the world, like INTZ, Na'Vi, Team Liquid. They even give those guys a run for their money. When they've played some other teams like FaZe and Fury, they've won, and they're really comfortable online on Mirage. So I think that both teams will feel pretty happy with this, given, you know, all the information that's out there.
Yeah, and Fitch didn't seem too pleased with that BO1 earlier in the day getting down to Inferno, so maybe they went back to the practice room, was like, you know what, guys, we cannot play Inferno on this day.
Speaking of Fitch and the boys, we've got the teams up on stage. They're getting ready to jump into the set. You know, looking at Mirage, it is one of those things where it is a matter of comfortability. Like, Mirage is just such a comfortable map. Like, Dust, you said it. Now that Cash is out of the mix, it's basically Mirage and Inferno. Like, not that many teams really like Dust 2 yet. Not many teams like Nuke. Not many teams like Vertigo. Or at least from what we can tell, will even play Vertigo. So that really limits the map pool down. And, you know, Overpass, depending on who you are, is like one of those like maps like you either love it or you hate it. You know, looking at the map pool now, it's more restrictive than it's ever been for a lot of teams, especially in a BO1.
Yeah, it does seem that way until we start seeing teams like either adopt Vertigo or figure out something else in their map pools. You're taking a look at Avangar here on stage again, a team that obviously turned some heads at this most previous major, had a really good run in the Legend stage, only getting limited by Na'Vi and INTZ. Beat Energy, beat FaZe, run through the Challenger stage with no problem, ran through the CIS Minor with no problem. So definitely a team that has, you know, a pretty good recent past offline. Online's been a little bit dicey. They just missed out on qualifying for Mountain Dew League. I know that was very disappointing for them. They also weren't able to qualify for Dallas. So they've had a couple of bumps in the road online, but, you know, offline coming into this tournament, definitely one of the teams that we were predicting to make it all the way to the finals, or at least have a really good chance to do so. And the first step towards doing that could be make it easier on yourself to get to the semis by winning out in the best of ones.
Definitely, and oh, I just lost my train of thought there, Bach.
It's okay.
Take it away.
Sorry. You can see them just setting up on stage, getting ready to jump into things. You know, during that series against E-United, I do think that Avangar kind of lucked out to a certain degree. I think there are rounds that E-United probably should have won to take that series. They fought really hard to keep themselves alive. So I think if you're Avangar at this point, like, you kind of just got to forget that game happened and just focus on the one at hand, because you got to be prepared for the team that just played on stage not that long ago and had all that energy and hype. It's going to be hard to match that level of energy, especially now that it's not two Brazilian teams. Like, you're matched up against a Brazilian team with an in-house audience that you're going to be fighting against. And even though it is late and some people might have left, there's still people here and they're still cheering. So there's still something to be concerned about if you're Avangar. Every team has mentioned it. Even E-United mentioned it when they played earlier. It was NA and EU, and they still had a hard time with the crowd noise. Like, it was loud. It's very loud in here.
It definitely is. But a positive note for Avangar's side of things, not only are they a little bit more favored to win in this matchup, but also they had that tough match versus E-United earlier in the day. And a lot of the times when you have a tough matchup so early on in the tournament, it can really set you up for success moving further along. You can really talk with your teammates and figure out what went wrong and be able to improve on those aspects along the way and grow throughout the tournament.
Yeah, I mean, at least what we saw on Inferno was Quicker play really, really well. He's going to be an important player on Mirage, you know, on A side, both sides of the map. Really good at initiating there and defending as an anchor. So it's good to see him playing. And then Jane was playing pretty well at the AWP, and he's obviously going to be big on Mirage. But now we're taking a look over at the INTZ side. And unfortunately, again, there's just not a whole lot to draw from on them just because of having to use a different lineup at EPL coming into this event. Haven't really seen them play too much since they got rid of Phelps and Horvey and brought on Destiny and Yell. As Yell even said, coming into this event, they had 1 day of practice. 1 day of practice with this lineup coming into this tournament, other than kind of some of the stuff they did before EPL. You know, Yell's taking on an in-game leader role. That's new for him. He's having to sacrifice his AWP, except when they had the money for 2. KNG, though, I mean, he was looking real good and real fierce on Mirage, and so that's something you always got to think about in a matchup like this. If he's popping off, if Yell can get that second AWP, which definitely can be viable on a map like Mirage on both sides even, then they might be able to start cooking with some gas and actually have a good competition here.
I think they definitely can. And as we mentioned earlier today, when we saw INTZ playing on Mirage, we got to talk about Cello and we got to talk about Zan. Because Zan on that B bomb site, he was hanging around the empty pillar and he's able to buy so much time for KNG in the window position to rotate quickly towards that market. And he's just picking them off as they're trying to close in and make space on Zan. And the same goes for Cello over at that A bomb site. The discipline it takes to stay behind that default bomb box and not fire and not give away your position and not really take a lot of contact, allowing your teammates to pick them off as they're trying to make space on them. These kinds of plays, it takes a lot of discipline for players, and as you mentioned, only 1 day of practice, that is very impressive.
Yeah, at least coming into this tournament. But like you said, at least we saw some good stuff from them on Mirage. You know, they definitely, like you said, had good anchoring. They were really good at being proactive with their other players on mid. I just think that Avangar should be able to handle that. They're a team that on the terrorist side has a really good balanced style of play. They're not heavily reliant on scrimmy or scrappy types of play. They can definitely play good defaults. They're like a very classic CIS team in that regard. They're probably one of the few teams in this tournament that are actually more often than not going to like to run the slower defaults. You actually saw that a good bit on Inferno. They were playing it down to the wire as far as the clock goes, and they have really good players and really good protocols to work themselves through that. And these are the two operas you're going to see going head-to-head on this map, maybe taking picks at each other down middle, but also Mirage is a map where you want to be dynamic as an opera. You want to constantly be repositioning, particularly on the CT side. And both these guys had a really good game to open the day. Both these guys have been widely known as pretty good operas coming from their respective countries. You know, Jane coming from Kazakhstan, and then KNG, of course, the Brazilian here for the home crowd. So it'll be cool to see if this keeps up because those numbers are pretty comparable.
Definitely are. And James, he's such a clutch player. We saw him closing out so many 1 versus 2 today on Inferno. And KNG is more of that explosive player, getting those quick flick picks. And it's going to be exciting to see who's going to prevail on that sniping battle.
Yeah, I'm really anticipating a strong battle between him and KNG. KNG hit so many clean shots in that Mirage game earlier, so I kind of expect to see more of a repeat of that. If you guys agree or disagree, go ahead and !AVG for Avangar, !INTZ for the Brazilian side. You know, this one actually is a little bit more tough because, again, we don't really know what to expect from this roster with INTZ.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I don't even know if we're going to see the same energy level because it's like, okay, you were playing against, like, you know, another hometown team, another Brazilian team with a Brazilian audience. Like, you're kind of fighting for control of the crowd. I don't know if we'll see that same level of energy from them again, considering that they're playing against a European opponent who's not going to do that.
I also kind of want to know, you know, if Cello can keep it up on that A-bomb side. You talked about how on that game earlier today against Fury, he was doing a really good job anchoring on the CT side, but he's going to have to go up against Quickert. And Quickert was so hot on Inferno. He's really good at, you know, poking and prodding over at A and trying to shift off anchors. Also, I will say this, when I've watched Avangar play in the past, like, they really favor either doing mid control or doing A set pieces. They actually kind of stray away from doing a lot of B set pieces, so that means that Cello will get tested more. That means the mid control from the CT side that was oh so good against Furia, that aggression that you've kept seeing them do, that's going to get tested more because if Avangar are going to fight a lot more efficiently for it, I think, like the op of Jame and you know, some of the other players they have running mid control. So those are going to be some of the key matchups I think we're going to have to see go well if we're going to see INTZ pull off yet another upset and find themselves in the playoffs right away.
Was that a fan or was that the coach hyping up the
I don't know.
team?
It's hard to say. I could hear it. It sounded like it was pretty close, and it sounded like it could have been the coach potentially. You know, who knows? So, Dust, you know, we've been talking about this for a while. What do we have as far as predictions coming into this one?
Yeah, I think that even though INTZ pressed me against Furia with some of their individual play, I just feel like some of what they had wasn't as reliable, I guess is like the right word to use. Like, I think if they come out hot, then yeah, they definitely can do exactly what they did to Fury and play really well. I think this could be a really close game, but I think if you're being reasonable, you have to go with, like, what have we seen on an in-and-out basis over the last 3 to 6 months. And I think when you look at that, Avangar is definitely kind of the safer pick.
I'd have to agree with him on that one, but I'm going to go with my heart here. And INTZ is such a momentum-based team, and although it has been a couple hours since they played last, I got to believe that they still got some fire left, and they're going to win.
The only way for me to catch up at this point is to consistently go against Dust. So I'm going to have to go with INTZ. The reason I want to go with INTZ is mainly because of that.
I feel like if you're really honest
advantage
with yourself, you just like going against me because you just like going against me, period.
Well, it is fun.
Yeah,
it is fun because I get to, like, razz you backstage as, like, you're watching games. I'm like, I told you. But really, the truth is, I actually do believe that INTZ will win this. Avangar looked really sloppy in their series earlier against United. They were bailed out a lot of times by individual play. And I don't think that a team who just did the same thing is going to to allow that. You know, like INTZ was in the same situation where like maybe they made a few mistakes in that round, but someone like KNG just bailed them out. So I don't think that Avangar is going to have that same luxury. So if INTZ comes out swinging, which they did in their last game, and they pick up that momentum early and they get the energy going and the remaining crowd on their side, I think it'll be hard for Avangar to really come back.
I feel like it's also economics based, right? Like, what if you can't afford to get Yell a second op early on CT side like they did in their previous game? Like, is he still going to really be able to have the same type of impact? Because remember, he put up some of the biggest numbers in that game, and it felt like it was because he had that second op on CT so often. So if you don't get that, that's a big conditional that goes out the window. So that's something else you have to kind of factor into the matchup, I think.
But actually, I would say that he only opted on CT side 1 or 2 rounds max, and so their setup, their actual foundation and setup on CT side is pretty sound. I don't think that it was necessary that Yell brought out the op. The rounds that he did have the op, I think they did win very handedly. But either way, it was a 10-5 half for INTZ, and so I think it was a pretty solid half without that second op.
Yeah, sure.
Well, you guys have been voting along inside the Twitch chat. We'll see if you agree with us on our predictions here, as we both went with INTZ, but Dust had to go the opposite direction, and it is a little bit more in favor of INTZ, so at least we're not the only ones that disagree with Dust here.
We'll see. We'll see what happens at the end of the game. How about that?
We'll be dancing celebration while you sit in the corner and mourn, right?
I definitely don't think I'll sit in the corner. I'll definitely still be standing here per my obligations as an analyst. So I think I'll still be up here with you folks.
Well, we are going to go ahead and throw things to a break as there is a little bit of a delay up on the stage. But when we come back, we'll be jumping into the final game of the day here. It's going to be INTZ versus Avangar to see who's moving on into the playoffs tomorrow. Stay tuned.
Hello and welcome back to DreamHack Open Rio 2019. My name is Risk. Alongside me is Tom Biz, and we're almost ready to go with Avangar versus INTZ. Easy for INTZ.
Easy for
We're
INTZ,
going to see if that happens.
We're stealing that. I don't know where from. I think we just made it up.
Yeah, I don't know.
Just made it up along the way. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to this matchup. Obviously, one of these teams goes straight through into the playoffs. They get a day off.
Yeah.
They get a chill in Rio, which
pretty good.
Me and you have already planned to do that after the event anyway. So yeah, definitely want to be doing that. Get the time to watch some of the other teams as well who are likely to face them going into the quarterfinals. And I'm going to be siding with Dust. I'm going to go with the Mirage, Mr. Dust, because I do think that although it was sort of mentioned on the desk, the idea of like, okay, both these teams were in sort of clutch situations, like maybe that'll play into instant. I don't actually agree with that, because what I have learned from this Avangar team is if you try and play Avangar in the style of Avangar, you lose.
All right. I think also, to be honest, it is the logical choice.
Yeah.
But then again, like, you are in a LAN arena, there's still people here so incredibly late, or like after schedule, but people are still in the arena hanging out, just watching CS, cheering, and that can sometimes change something. It's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be more than 3 to 5%, but that could be enough. Cello, it's going to get headshotted.
Already damage done. He was the sort of one man. He needs to stay alive here. Falling back is the more important thing. Wait for your team, play in the retake. Spam going to be coming through, but it's on the other side of the box, unfortunately. Not going to be planted for short this time as they have the full CT control. 3 players ready and waiting for the all-out brawl. It's going to be Cello to get one, but the flashbang's good enough to help out for KNG. Still, the CTs have managed to trade a couple of kills back and at least made things a little bit interesting. They do need to get on that bomb relatively soon as there isn't a kit for any of these players. Buster, Fitch just going to go pushing, and while Yell's going to be the only one left, Avangar kick things off with a pistol round. Fitch off to a good start, and it is going to be Avangar 1-0 up.
And a very simple start as well, just straight on rush out, come from that. They ramp one player towards Palace and then all out warfare. Nice little add-on as well with that 3-man stack towards CT where you just get the bomb down and then 5 to 10 seconds after you just push CT to get that immediate control, catching KNG and Cello, I think, off guard. And now it's going to be the mid push. Decent nade, but Sanji and the boys are getting flash though, so they're put on the big pressure, but Jane, Mac 10 in hand. They're actually doing a lot of damage, but still 2 kills coming in for the CT side. Bomb is dropped, but not really a problem yet, but already so far, good damage done.
Yeah, I think the only way they win this round now is if there's a massive mistake. Like, basically, if they don't check under balcony, then maybe there's a slim chance. Now, that he already knows that there's one player over towards A because The MAC-10 has shot off a couple of bullets, and Yell's actually going to go peeking, but instead, the T's have actually fallen off. They're going to double back in towards the B site. The timing works out wonderfully for Buster, and I think that's the second round in a row he's actually just lurked over towards that Palace. And I really like you mentioned it, the sort of aggression that they pulled out going in over towards CT. I think the added little bit to that strat is having a player in Palace, because then you just have that horrible pincer where basically the CT side are just flicking their USP to different angles trying to find the different players. Like, they were screwed from the get-go.
Kenji and the boys will need to get something done. This is the buy coming in for them, and 4 Orcs, 1 AWP. No kits. And Kenji even on a glass cannon, so no armor for him. And also missing a couple of Molotovs, only 1 Molotov on stand, so definitely not the best CT setup. T-side on the other side, on the other hand, got everything they need. MAC-10 on Sanji, so he's looking to farm up some money. Here comes the smoke.
Yeah, the T's knowing there's a lack of utility, as you sort of mentioned. This is the best place to go. Nothing for the retake. All they have to do is try and get themselves the opening pick, but as I say that, it is Cello to actually find the opener. Is going to get flashed and Molotov out of position. Sanji will be able to trade things back, and the smokes will still hold out this CT side for now. And now we talk about that lack of utility. This is where not having the nades is going to be so detrimental to the CT side. They've already lost a lot of control. Obviously, all the afterplant positions now taken, but that kill onto Sanji is actually fairly important. You can see the T's now start to try and battle back in. They know that they don't have the control anymore. They know they don't have that sort of even equal situation, and Destiny's just going ham. A second kill to his name. Quicker, I think he was looking to try and rotate around in towards mid. He doesn't have time for that anymore. He's got to try and go for some sort of peek, and well, you can see where the bomb is. There's no chance.
He's giving it up. Just holding the angle, making sure that he can take a frag, and INTZ will get the first round under their belt. Yell there in the middle, getting stuff going. Also very, like, of course, Kenji had a huge performance in that first game against Furia, but Yell, really, really nice. I think he was +7 while in-game leading the team and playing that second fiddle on the AWP. That's really impressive in my opinion, because I always expect Kenji to do well, because he's such a talented player, but for Yell to go +7 in a game against Furia in such an important stake, that's really nice from him. Good to see him come back after the problems he had early on, also on Luminosity and all that stuff.
Oh, the second time today the Brazilian fans have sort of one team to really rally behind. Obviously before we had a lot of Brazilian matchups, but this is like the first, I would say, like bigger Brazilian team who are up against another sort of big opponent as well. So a real chance for the crowd to rally behind one of their teams. And we heard it the second they won that round. Like, you can hear the screams from quite far away. We are obviously in the backstage area at the moment, but a good start as well from the CTs. Buster is down. Utility now becomes an issue for Avangar more so, as they really don't have any nades to get into the site. It's actually more HEs than anything else, which, unless you're going to double dunk, it's not really very helpful.
You got to get that opening peek. And that's going to be for free, as Fitch drops in, and not a second one for him. As Destiny takes him to court.
Quicker's alone with the bomb. There's no support for him at the moment. He just has to try and survive and hope that one of his teammates can get in an angle, because if he goes down, this round is done. Like, they already have a full rotation almost, just leaving one player over towards the stage. So Sanji's actually going to try and take the battle versus him. Quicker does, however, get the kill. There's still multiple players here. He's actually going to be able to get the bomb down. He's done fantastic work there, because he was completely alone in that scenario. Destiny now goes to push back in. Quicker will fall, but James there to get the trade. The fact is, though, he is now the only man left in a 1 versus 2 situation, and that nade has dunked him within inches of his life. We spoke about clutches from this man so far. This would have to be a pretty damn impressive one as they peek in, but he hits himself the first headshot, and now just playing ring around a rosy. KMG with the AWP, and James is going to get himself both kills, 3 in total, and wow. What was that? There was something about clutches and like other teams being able to do it too. I don't think anyone can match up to this man.
Yeah, and also, of course, James coming in with a 3K in the end, but that kind of like freeze situation that Kicker played, just staying with the bomb, that's a common thing you have, like, that happens if a round goes wrong and you have 1 or 2 players who are completely on the other side of the map. Just call out a freeze, okay? The player with the bomb, just stand still, don't die. And that's a very hard thing to call. Like, it's hard to expect him not to like get overrun or anything, but he plays it perfectly. Doesn't give any information away, just holds his ankles, and he freezes in a situation where it's very, very hard to do that. And due to that fact, they get the bomb down, and then they get James in that 1v3 clutch scenario, which he can do, and which he did.
Yeah, don't die is almost as useful a call as just win. Like it really doesn't help you very much. But yeah, especially when there were 3 players around that side, it's a very difficult thing to do. Oh, Cello. The Buster's been a little bit unlucky over the last few rounds. The first one down, luckily his teammates have been able to pick up the slack, and they will do this once again. Obviously not much invested here for the CT side. They are saving their money. Obviously building up a bit of a loss bonus now as well, which will help them with the finances into the next round.
Oh, okay.
They're still doing damage here. An extra $300 wouldn't go amiss when you really don't have a huge amount of money. An extra nade, an extra smoke. That nade is filth.
The question is, what does Stan want to do in this situation? Body armor and Deagle also really not worth saving when you had the buy coming up, so he's probably just going to have to go and do something, but he's going to get shot down. That's all he gets for his troubles. And 4-1 will be the score. INTZ now with that buy. They need to get something done now. KNG has the money for once again an AWP, but it's still a glass cannon. There's still only 2 Molotovs and no kits. This is a dangerous, this is a slippery slope for INTZ to allow Avangar to get this kind of a start.
Yeah, this was what I was sort of talking about. Like, an extra $300 really isn't bad in this scenario. It's an extra smoke. Maybe if you had $100, maybe even a kit, which well, clearly they didn't. And, well, goodbye. This is what I was actually quite worried about when going into this battle, because in the game versus Furia, I don't think anybody really played well against KNG in mid. No. Like, you should not be allowed to peek mid-window every round as an AWPer and not die. Like, it just isn't a thing. Yeah. And that was something that really got them off to a strong start. Now, James, if you notice there, pretty much just solo took a fight in mid and won it. Like, he is not the same sort of opponent that was in Furia. Like, he is a dominating AWPer in many situations, even against tier 1 teams. Yeah. So,
in my opinion, the best player in this tournament.
I wouldn't disagree with you. Oh, Cello again! A couple of big kills, and I don't know what just happened. That was one of the fastest cleanups I think I've ever seen.
And that's the energy they need right now, is to get back into the game. The coach, of course, supplying it, the crowd helping as well. They need to get something rolling, and then they needed to get it done in this round as well, because getting behind 1-4, 1-5, that's not a good start on that CT side here in Mirage. So they needed to get something done. They do get it here. Quick shutdown. Up now on KNG with armor. They have kits, they have utility. This is where they can start to do damage, because if you also look at the money over at Avangar's side, there's not much left. This is a key round.
Yeah, this is a risky investment coming in from Avangar. Obviously, they don't have a huge amount of finances coming in the next round anyway, so it was sort of like a, okay, let's just go for it because we're not going to have that much better. Yeah, I've actually just thought of another like sort of argument of why you would want INTZ to be going through, and that's because I don't want to be the guy who has to tell their manager that he has to leave.
Oh no, that guy needs to stay. Like, even let's hope for it not to happen. But even if INTZ goes out, I want that guy to just be the hype man for the crowd.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a different kind of energy to that guy.
I think he doubles up as a security guard as well, because he's a big guy, and I'm not going to be the one to fight him. Let's put it that way. I'm very sure.
You shouldn't be the one to fight anyone. Let's be real.
No. I'm a lover, not a fighter. Let's just put it that way.
Okay.
Either way, though, again, CT side, off to a strong start. They've got that opening pick. Zand is going to be waiting. This angle's very difficult to counter. Like, just boost it up, already takes down quick. Nothing he can really do in that scenario. Now James is going to be trying to almost like fight his way back into the side. They've only got 30 seconds left. They don't really have much time to switch things up, but they're still going to go for it. I think it's because of Buster's spot, but the fact is Cello was still ready and waiting. He's played a similar position, and now it's like the double bluff situation where you're just like, oh, okay, we'll go back to A, right? We've got some space on A, and then they go, okay, we don't have that anymore.
I think footsteps were even heard from the player who was on short, so they know exactly what's going on now. Sandish is pushing out aggressively. He wants to end this now.
He wants to die, yeah, pretty much, because he only had a dig.
Yep. James will save that AK, and I think he will be just far... Yeah, he will be far enough away to make sure that he goes out of this round alive. More hype. Sprint. And one of the things you have to note as well, like, if you're watching a lot of CS and you say, okay, the coach is actually talking right now, how does that actually make any sense? It is because the rule set that DreamHack used is a bit different from the one that is used in the major circuit and also, therefore, in many other tournaments. At DreamHack events, the coach can actually communicate way more and talk way more with his team than in other tournaments. One thing that I personally really, really like, having a very small but still an experience as a coach, it's so frustrating when you have something to say and you have to wait to take that time out, and you only have a very, very small window to relay that information in.
Good position from James. Bear in mind, he's the only weapon currently in play for this terrorist side, but he is the man you'd want to have it at the same time. Actually, I've just realized Quicker actually bought as well. That's a bit of a peculiar one. I'm not quite sure why that's happened.
That doesn't really make a lot of sense. Gonna get away with that one.
Just run away, Yell. We've seen him go for some pretty damn aggro plays in the previous series that we saw versus Furia. That is so high risk. I think they should know as well.
It's not even high reward, that's the problem.
Yeah, that was, well, madness without method, I would say, for KNG. And that's an AWP. Now, obviously, it's not in the hands of James, but it doesn't really matter. Like, that's a weapon that they didn't have. That's something additional. And now you're down to just 3 players. Jello has almost everything to do, and they're going to peek him together. James will be able to finish off another. It's only at the cost of Sanji, who, again, didn't have anything, really. And, well, Yell has absolutely everything to do, trying to make this work. And, while Fitch is now there to finish things off with the AWP, INTZ have just absolutely thrown away around.
That's a tough one. Coming off the back of all that hype and now stopping the train at the first station.
I think that can be the sort of counter. Like, as in, like, obviously you get hyped up, you get sort of confident, and I think that may have been a slight part of the play of KNG. Like, I've got to bring this round back. I've got to be the one to make the play, and so he pushes on mid and isn't aware that somebody's already crossed.
Yeah.
Could have just been timing as well. Like, that's another thing when it comes to stuff like that. Like,
you can't get a fortune.
Yeah.
That's true. And this round, though, buy for both sides, but a limited one for INTZ. As we do see the FAMAS come out and missing some utility with 128 to go. Cello and Destiny both going aggressively down towards ramp and both shut down by Kickert.
I like the spot, like using the sort of gap between the wood, just to give him a little bit of vision where they can't really see him at all until it's too late, till they're dead.
And this is, you said it the round before, where KNG needs to step up and make a difference. This time he's not playing aggressive, he's playing it correctly. But he needs to be the man right now. Leg shot coming in onto James. One is already crossed. Will he know this?
I think he
has a feeling. Another hit, but no kills.
This is one of those painful situations where he's doing a lot of damage, but he's unable to finish off any of the remaining players. Zand, however, with that AUG, is now going to have some weaker opponents to try and battle against. The spray through. He's so close to getting Buster, but instead Buster gets him back in return. The headshot through the wall. He was literally 1 bullet away from finishing him off, but now KNG catches the man in from behind. They've still got a very strong chance of taking this round, and Sanji's stuck in the palace. He's the man with the bomb. He needs to get out onto this site, and KNG is ready and watching the angle. The flash is going to come out. Oh, that's the shot that could have changed the round, but he still manages to peek back in onto Buster. Instead, KNG looking to right his wrongs from the previous round. And yes, the man planting the bomb as well. His teammate may be gone. It's all left onto one, and James, he goes down. KNG has just tanked their team.
Unleash the beast. KNG comes to life. And what a round. 4K from him. And we talked about him making that mistake in the round before, and he needs to make up for that instantly. He comes back with a 4K, and a timeout is called.
Yeah, this is where the coach just plays more of that, please. But that was, absolute filth. This is the thing. This is the man in this team where we know his skill ceiling is off the charts. Like, you know that if obviously other things hadn't happened in the past, who knows where he could be right now. Obviously within INTZ, he's a man that they're going to look to. And in that round, he just absolutely beasted it. And that's the thing. He can take over the server at any point in time, the same as his counterpart of James can do exactly the same thing. So it really is going to be an all-out brawl at the moment. I would say James has still picked him to the post so far, but that round was very important, especially in terms of finances. Look at the money, and James already tagged down to just 17 HP.
This is a strange buy as well, because you have a couple of players on 1600, 1400, and then James and Fitch down below 1,000. Let's see what they're going to do after this one. Buster does find Cello. Destiny was pushed far down and does have this corner position. Shadow advantage. We'll pick up both of them. And now can rotate back, and this is almost secure. Yell can bring it home with the frag onto Sanji here.
Yeah, Sanji literally has nothing. This is basically just, this should be a free $900. Which it's pretty much as lucky as you can get. The one player that has absolutely nothing and you're holding a shotgun. Like, obviously it's one of those positions where you really can get away with it if they're not going to Molotov off the corner, and most of the time, well, they haven't even had the money to have a Molotov.
Exactly, when they're in
so-
the low economy round, that actually makes a lot of sense to go for this play. Yell, very intelligent player in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, he definitely seems to know like all the positions he should be taking, like when to fight and when to. Well, I cannot believe that Sanji's actually got that kill. And actually, James now got a second. This cannot go back the other way. Like, Sanji still has nothing, but actually they're going to peek back in, and Buster's now finished him off. I don't know how this has turned into the favor of Avangar.
How has this fallen apart?
I don't
That
know
was
what
a
just happened.
3v5, now 3v1.
That's now a second round where INTZ has made like big mistakes. Like we speak about it the other sort of 1 AK round where they had an AK and a Deagle. This time they had 2 AKs, but like it went really badly wrong for them initially. Jane was on 17 HP since like the beginning of the round. But yeah, just that little bit of aggression and not checking your corners.
Yeah.
That's it. He checks that angle. That's Sanji down on the ground, and there's no way he gets that kill. But everything, well, I want to almost call that the stars aligning. It's happened again.
No.
Sanji is just like bathing in 4-leaf clovers at the moment. Like, I don't know what's just happened, but like he's got shoe horns and all that stuff, or like the U-horn, whatever it's called.
The horseshoe?
That's the one. What did I just say?
I don't know.
It's late. Let's just put it down to that.
But it seems like INTZ, like their highs are incredibly high. Like when they hit their shots, the level is so good and the players are really like on a top level. But still, like the lows are so low, like not checking angles. So the consistency seems to be the key, and that goes very well in line with what we heard about. They only have 1 day of prac coming up to this tournament,
Yeah.
and it's showing because we can see the level when it shines through. Is so high, the individual level, the talent in this squad is very high, but it's not consistent yet. And they have to develop that throughout this tournament because they only had that 1 day of practice. And that is something incredibly hard to do. Only the best teams and the best players in the world can do that. But they have to.
Yeah, unfortunately, the way things have gone is, yeah, they haven't had much time to really prepare for this one. Obviously, giving Pro League a bit of a go. They said they tried not to really care too much about it, but it seems like it could have jeopardized their time here a little bit. While now, Sanji quicker, looking to try and just clean things up quite easily in this round. Like, these are the sort of rounds that both teams have really struggled on so far. Like, rounds where they should quite easily win. Obviously, Zan, I guess, was really hoping that his opponent was still looking towards the connector, but that's so high risk.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I can understand it because he has like almost nothing to lose in this round. He hears the shots from the AUG going towards the connector. If he has like a nice timing, he will get a free frag, but it's like a 10% chance, but still like a 10% chance for a free frag in a eco round. Maybe you want to take that.
No, the thing is that they have actually invested. Like, this is all their
Yeah, that's
finances. Jello, well placed. He's given the chance. Actually, KNG will still be able to get one, but ultimately, like, they're not going to be able to buy into this next round anyway. So
Forget about the eco. This is the eco. There we go. That's what I wanted to say.
yeah, this is the problem though, because it's like we've had a lot of close, scrappy rounds. Obviously, INTZ winning a few of them in a row. They kind of reset their own loss bonus, which was the one like sort of good thing they had in the early rounds. Now we're sort of sat in a point where it's like Avangar are going to be getting their 8th on the T side. We talk about this one being like fairly close in terms of halves. I don't really see Avangar say we go a 10-5, 11-4 half. I don't see Avangar letting that slip.
Avangar actually are winning almost 54% of the rounds on the CT side, so
Yeah.
this is a very good start for them stats-wise.
Yeah, and the other thing as well, then you're up against a CT side JMORP, which
Yeah,
you
you
just
don't want to run into
You don't
that.
want at all. Like,
Yeah.
that's not a fun time.
Not
But-
a fun time.
We'll have a buy in the next round. Obviously, in terms of an AWP, like we've seen KNG pull it in glass cannon whenever he can. He's
2 times.
not even going to be able to in the next round. Like, he will not have the finances. He needs not even just a kill. He needs an extra one because obviously the $50 will kind of ruin him here. So maybe 2 kills. That'll be a glass cannon all for him. Other than that, it's just not going to be possible. And while Sanji, nice little AUG from here. Unless they steal one. That's another way they could do it. Oh, that nade. How much damage? Destiny's just taken the brunt of that, and then KNG is gone. No 2 kills for him. And you can see James, like, just trying to be a little bit more passive. Obviously, he wants those eco frags. He wants to pad his stats. He wants to get himself further up on the HLTV rankings, as if they aren't high enough as they are. But, yeah, he's just going to be making sure he doesn't hand over an AWP. Got the support of Buster as well. And yeah, this is just as easy as you like. These are the sort of rounds you expect to see a little bit more when it's an anti-eco situation.
And as we see this round kind of go out, a little public service announcement. The scoreline between Sharks and Valiants right now 6-4 in the favor of Sharks. And if you want to watch that game, of course, we're not showing it right now on the stream since we're playing 2 games at the same time. You can find the GoTV IP for the good old school experience.
Yeah.
Back before we had streams, Tom. Back when you had to go onto a server and watch the game yourself.
You can literally sit in the game and cast to yourself if you
can
would
do
like.
It's a service that DreamHack provides.
Yeah.
Actually, I remember like back in the day, like watching DreamHack games in either the HLTV relay or back when they had a few of the Source tournaments in the Source TV relay. Those were the days, man.
But did you prefer those days?
I think everyone always looks back at old days with like a kind of a
nostalgia.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of blinds you in a way.
Because it was worse.
Yeah, it definitely was worse, but it was also an interesting time.
Yeah. Everything was new, everything was fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
8-4.
And I could still play Counter-Strike back then.
Yeah, we're on Mirage as well. That hasn't changed. Yeah, we don't see anything new here anymore.
Well, Vertigo is pretty new, I would say.
I meant on this map.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Vertigo is pretty new, but not necessarily a good top.
Alright, Buster's gonna try and change the game as he runs in, but he's shut down by Destiny. And Fitch will find the pick onto him. Jame onto Kenji.
Yeah, I love that. Just sheer aggression into mid to take that kill away. Bomb's been dropped. Cello again. Managing to hold on to this A site. As mentioned on the desk that he had to be hugely impactful. The thing is, though, even with the bomb dropped, Yell actually goes peeking. Cello really does have to be a hero here, and Jame is just wiping him down again. 3 kills for him. He will be finished by Cello. It's left onto Quicker into the 1 versus 1. He will actually fall back. Now, the bomb's already been planted.
No kit.
Yeah,
I don't
no
think
kit
there's
as
a kit
well.
on the side either, though. So he has to either find one or just go straight for the duel.
Yeah, I think Cello almost tried to bait him. How does he win that duel? The jump up from Cello, what an absolute beast. And that is a sick round from him. Like, really has just carried them through.
Finds the AWP, and I think he will have time to defuse, even though he doesn't have a kit. That's going to be the round. Going the way of INTZ, and there's the defuse coming in. Very nicely done. Cello once again with a high impact round. He's been the guardian of that A bomb site pretty much so far. And that face is a face of determination, Tom. That man is not going to allow anything.
I'm not getting in his way.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, no, I think that, yeah, Cello has done an excellent job, and holding down that A site is definitely not an easy task. Like,
KNG.
You can literally be pincered from so many angles, but yeah, KNG looking for that opening pick. Bit of a gap in the smoke. He has definitely not been anywhere near as impactful as we saw in the match earlier today. Like, the opening picks have actually been going against him a lot of the time. Did have that one incredible round, but Cello's gone this time. Quick trade back. Jame will be down and out, and I think that's an important frag. He is a man who has been leading the charge in the service so far. Buster, though. And these are the sort of faces that I was sort of talking about. Like, KNG got away with that every single time versus Furia. He has been punished almost every single time versus Avangar. And I think this is what we sort of talked about before, where it's like the day and night of INTZ. It's like they could have these incredible games where they just roll over a team, but if the things they try don't work, I don't think they have a second page to their like strat.
But to be honest, that's fair enough with, once again, sorry to reiterate, 1 day of practice. And yes, of course, they have some standards that they can work on with the team that they played Pro League with, but CS is a fickle game, and you have to be prepared, and you have to have kind of that consistency drilled in. And they don't have that right now, INTZ. They don't have that luxury. So they have to play off individual players stepping up and doing big things. And when you're playing against a team of strong individuals as Avangar, that's just going to be even harder.
Even still, I do think that when it comes to like the way that KNG is approaching mid, I think after it fails a couple of times, the team has to then take a moment and say, right, okay, how are we going to do this instead? And on a map like Mirage, I actually expect a bit more, even if it is a team that hasn't had a huge amount of time to practice, because it is a map that everybody knows the certain plays. Like if you say, okay, we're going to try and take mid control, you watch into Lara, three of us are going to push top mid. That's fairly basic, but it's also something different. Whereas we've now basically seen, okay, KNG's going to try and AWP from window into mid. Okay, he's been forced off the angle. Now he's going to ping connector. And you can just see Avangar just going, okay, right, we forced him out window, ping connector. Here's the change. This is what I wanted to see. Destiny's now taking that sort of initiative. He's gone up, he's found the opening kill. They've finally taken mid control away from the T side.
And this is also a very, very interesting buy for them. That was a couple of pistols, a UMP, and a scout. And they got the opening. No one has picked up the UMP from the middle, which is kind of interesting. Definitely could have that on the back while wielding a CZ. And then the fake is going to come. Sanji is probably going to show himself a bit here. Or he's just going to play the full flank. Either one. It's a good chance for INTZ or for Avangar to get something done here.
Yeah, this is the thing. They don't have any weapons like for range battles. Are they going to check under? Oh, it doesn't matter. All the shots have been taken by Cello, and while Buster will get both openers, KNG is going to be there with the scout. Hits onto Quicker. Looking to try and find him through the wall.
Oh,
is that
dead.
Molotov going to spread? Yes, it is. Jame will cook his AWP counterpart, and that will leave Destiny and Yell left to try and clutch this one out. Now, they have retrieved that AK, of course. Spotting one player. The spray's wild, but does a lot of damage onto Jane. The fact is, though, they're going to finish him off anyway, and Yell 1 versus 4 to try and finish off the half. It'd be the most impressive play so far.
Squish these 3 players together, and they don't even have half HP. Look at that. 15, 14, and 9 HP on Jame. That's so close. But we're going to go to a short break, and then we're going to be back with the second half in a bit. See you then. Back here to the game between Avangar and INTZ. We're live from DreamHack Open Rio 2019 in the Carioca Hall number 1. We're live into the game as well. 10-5 was the first half score, and Fitch and the boys on Avangar ready to settle that and bring 16 on the board.
Yes, straight in towards the A side they go. Full control given. The CT's not fighting this one off at all. They're going to allow the T's to at least get the bomb down. They've got a couple of flashbangs to get them back into the site, and they also have a kit available to them. The fact is, though, the fact that 0 damage has gone in without, well, with a bomb plant is actually quite mad. Sanji going to be looking to try and find the shots back in. They're all coming from CT. They're going to try and just fight this back. It's a brawl. Those 2 players need to try and do some damage. They've at least done a little bit, but they're not going to find any frags, and now the remaining T players have to try and hold on to this one. They're being swarmed from that CT spawn, and Yell's trying to do his best. He's got himself 3. A lot of damage by the man, but he's left all alone as they try and pincer him into the corner. Yell's looking to do it all. One more left, but he couldn't quite finish it. The fact is, though, he's won the round anyway.
Yell, what a round from him. And the hype is real.
I love him so much.
Easy for INTZ.
God.
Yell just steps up to the plate and sends a home run. 10-6. INTZ stepping back into the fray. Mac 10, Khalils, and full eco for the T side.
Yeah, he's just made this interesting because that pistol goes the other way. Avangar are very, very close to finishing this map off. Instead, well, what an incredible play. 4 kills from that one corner after every single one of his teammates fell. Yell has just sort of had that big step-up moment that could rise the sort of chances of INTZ getting back into this game.
And you just saw how the odds just changed. It went from 934 to 550 just because of that one pistol round. And that kind of shows you in the stats like how important that round just was.
Yeah, at the same time, in our opposing game, we've got exactly... Oh, no, wait. It's gone the other way. So it was 10-5. It was the same half, but Shark's in the lead. They've now taken the pistol. They've actually followed it through, as Avangar probably should have done. And, well, we talked about Valiance being the team that we expected to have a day off. They expected to have a day off. It doesn't look like it at the moment. And, well, the CTs, this is not happening. P250s, they didn't even invest into this round. Somehow the CT side have turned this into a 4 versus 2.
Bench player has done everything but sit down. He stood up and Buster will finally be taken care of. It was such a nuisance. Destiny in the corner. Yell just waiting with bated breath. 2 CT players coming in from the other angle. Catch him off guard. There's not much time left. They have to go for the plant. The bomb has been picked up. It's Destiny with 100 HP. That's the only bit of good news, but here comes the bomb plant. Yell with 1, but they still have to go. The bomb will be picked. And Yell in a 1v1 against Jamie with 2 HP.
How's he doing this? He's literally left. Oh, no, and he gets it again! Okay, just give this man an MVP or something just for this one. That's back-to-back 4Ks where he saved them in situations they never should have been winning. Obviously, the round itself, they shouldn't have even come close to losing. But the fact that he manages to turn that from a 4v2 to nobody being left alive, like, he is literally being their hero at the moment.
Yeah, there has to be a timeout to come in here now for Avangar. I can't really imagine anything else. And that is exactly what's happening. Because these 2 rounds in a row, like, that is almost 100% secure for Avangar, but they still manage to lose it somehow, some way. That can take a toll on you mentally. So the coach right now for Avangar is really in a tough position. He has to like drill it through the players' heads. Okay, we need to step back into this game. We can't be afraid of this happening, because sometimes when you lose, let's say a 4v1 or a 3v1 or something like that, it gets in your head. And if that happens now, being up, yes, still 10-7, but in such an important game, and INTZ are allowed to go back into the game, that gets really dangerous. So Avangar have to stop them right here, right now. And that's also why the bar is coming in.
Yeah. Bear in mind, he had 2 HP when that 2v4 began.
Yeah.
So that is ludicrous that he doesn't get shot at all. So fantastic work from him. Obviously now the CT's actually coming with their buy. So this could be as hard of a reset as you get in Counter-Strike now for the T side. They have no loss bonus, and this is where the CTs want to bounce back, and that's exactly what they're going to do. This time I don't think there's going to be any hero. KNG has to do everything. 4 kills, back-to-back rounds for Yell. KNG needs 5.
And he has 1 minute. And now 6 seconds to do it in. The bomb has been dropped. And I think that was the only player they kind of could allow to throw away in this situation, just to find out where KNG was and what kind of weapon he was equipped with. Now a 4v1. There should be no way. And Fitch is doing the exactly correct thing. He's shutting him out from T-spawn. They have a player who's shutting him down from the underpass. And this round is done. There's no way that KNG gets this shot in. Jame will add number 24 to his score. And it looked like a ridiculous 80-hour 120 plus at least. Yeah. So he's definitely doing work.
Yeah, I think the thing that we took from those last couple of rounds is that, okay, yeah, they clutched it out. It was a great clutch from Yale. But the thing you have to mention is, in the last round, if you said to Avangar going in with the pistols they had, you get 4 kills, they're going to take it every time. Yeah. Like, they invested next to nothing. So, obviously, as a standalone round, it's fantastic, but it's just the situation that sort of suggests, okay, they should have had more. And this is what you look at, the buy. It's just not good enough.
Oh, there's a potential of a big grenade coming in. The CT side, but he'll wait a bit. Won't do as much damage. Will be Yell to come in with the CSAT 75 though, and that means the bomb could have a chance of getting planted. Yell already now, and CT's bomb burning away. Shut down by Jamie, number 25 for him.
Patience from the CT side in this scenario, and Buster just caught another one through the smoke. They really want to battle into CT. The flashes just aren't doing anything though. They haven't been able to come from anyone. Oh no! James actually, I think that actually helped. He killed off his teammate, but the fact is, it stopped him anywhere near getting knife. KNG, 1 HP. Yeah, it's not happening. James will put him down. Again, one of those rounds where you think Avangar probably could have done that a little bit cleaner considering what was invested, but they win it. That's all that really matters to them at this point. And the Ts, unless they're going to buy up with like UMPs or juggle some AKs around, this is just going to have to be an eco. Or a deco.
Good old deco. Brings it back to the old days.
Oh, okay. Ruined it.
4 deagles.
And he buys last as well.
KNG. He has his own way.
Yeah, he teased it because I said it before they actually like bought all of them. So
yeah,
I was like, oh, he's getting that.
That's the problem, Tom. You can never.
Yeah, I know. I can never be right. It's not allowed.
That's how it is.
Although I did say Avangar would, so you know. If
it's a pretty good chance.
I've just cursed it, but we'll see if Avangar can outlive that.
Cello?
Yeah. Bit of damage.
Destiny down to 18. Trading a bit. But then again, like INTZ in this situation, they're going to be happy with just getting 2 kills here. If they get 2 kills, they're going to be satisfied. If they get 3 kills, they're going to be really happy about it. KNG into the window. Here's something. Ready and waiting, and Jamie finds one, and that's his time to strike, but Buster's there to help out his teammate. Shutting everything down, Kick It and Fitch will end the round, and that's going to be round number 13 for Avangar. One of the favorites here in the tournament to make it to the playoffs. They are 3 rounds away from making that playoffs right now.
Yeah, I think the sort of initial like scare of like the earlier rounds, the back and forth nature of it, sort of went away. Then obviously they threw away a couple of rounds in a row where they should have won, and it sort of gave that little bit of hope, at least for us like watching and the Brazilian fans, I'm sure. But this is now where they go, we are the better team. And we've seen over the last couple where they have just like, they get their bye, they just obliterate that first round.
One thing that I would like to point out as well, this might seem super fundamental and super simple, but the use of the timeouts have been perfect for the INTZ coach here. He has picked the perfect time to kind of put them in. Like right now, 13-7, he has to bring the last one out now because this is one of the last buys, if not potentially the last real buy they're going to have. And it seems very rudimentary and very simple, but a lot of teams on just below the tier 1, okay, as you see a missed Molotov, a lot of teams below the tier 1, tier 2 will actually not use their timeouts correctly. But INTZ have done that, and the coach will receive some praise for it.
Yeah, Fitch, however, is already going to be kicking things off. KNG has definitely not had anywhere near the level of impact that we needed to see if they were going to take this one. He is currently, well, 4th on the board. It's not like he's doing any worse than any of his other teammates, but he's the man that we sort of look to if they're going to like take over a match. And, well, his counterpart on the other side has now hit his 27th kill, only 9 deaths. So James really has been ruling the server.
Yeah. In a hall that has seen many a triple-double, of course, since it hosted the basketball tournament in the 2016 Olympics, we might have a chance of seeing a 30 bomb.
You really wanted to bring in some basketball references, didn't you?
I've held a lot of them down.
Well, the thing is, you want to do them during Valiants, and we were thinking, oh, we might not get to cast them based on how the schedule's working. At the moment, they're losing quite heavily to Sharks, so they might have to play tomorrow.
Which technically is what the Serbian basketball team did to the US basketball team at the 2016 Olympics. Hey, you set me up for that one. But back into the round. This is a special round, and Cello trying to bring it back in. So will Yell once again, the Clutchmeister, but not this time around. Buster shuts him up. And And Cello, last man standing, has to 1v3 clutch with 20 seconds to go. Yes, he has the bomb, but he has to go straight for the plant, and there's a play in his way. That's actually 2 on the B bomb side now.
Yeah, the push through on towards the spawn has made things very difficult. He's completely fixed it. Like, there was no way he was winning that round. The second Fitch went to the top of mid, so... Yep, great work again from Avangar, and this is where their CT side dominance just starts to come in. And we spoke about it in the first half, where like, okay, yeah, they actually get slightly more rounds over on the CT side. Obviously, that's just statistics, and like it can vary very much game to game. But they had a strong T side. They're now looking very strong on the CT side, and yeah, they're getting closer and closer to getting that automatic spot in the playoffs and having a day off.
James knows that everyone is just pummeling in towards that connector, but Kickit is there, shutting down the ramp, and, well, it doesn't seem like the information has been given correctly, but nonetheless, the weapon should not be enough to clutch this. Kickit actually shut down by KNG, and out to 2v2. This should not have happened. Jamie got the information, he heard the footsteps, could only assume that they went towards connector, but maybe the communication wasn't there, because the 2 CT players, or the 1 CT player, got completely surprised by that.
Yeah, I don't actually know what happened in that scenario, because, yeah, we sort of had all the footsteps going through mid, maybe just, like, tunnel visioned in on what he was doing, but it's given INTZ a real chance in a round that never really should have had anything behind it. They managed to get themselves towards the A site. The problem is, what plant do they go for here? Because you obviously have the man over towards the connector, but you don't have control of it. You don't have a smoke, so you can't just isolate it. And James is on it like a hawk. So you try and cross there, you are dead. And that's exactly what they try and do. You face off against the man, but they actually trade out. Oh no, they're going to run into mid. I completely understand why. Like, obviously not expecting there to be a second man there, but unfortunately, that is not the way things have worked out.
14 will turn into 15 as Avangar ever closer to a spot in the playoffs, which I think is the first time Avangar are at a DreamHack Open, if not mistaken. That would be a good little treat for them to go to the playoffs in the first DreamHack Open. Very nice. This, though, is an investment round. KNG not with a glass cannon, but without any utility. Molotovs all around, and CT side, all of them were hit, so plenty of money to go around. No worries, and the reason why some of the players are missing utility is because they already spent it. Not an economic issue. Pitch pushed back by the flashbang. Holding the angle. If there comes a pop flash into this position, he might have a tough time. But it's going to be a boost into the window to begin. The bomb has still not been picked up. He's going to use that to question what the intentions are of this inside. Now it's being picked up. Now we can see where they want to go.
Yeah, again, they've taken full mid-control. They're already going to trade things back. Nice shot from Destiny. And actually, they found Sanji as well. But Basta looking to hold down the fort. Unfortunately, it isn't quite enough. And James, he's actually going to try and take this fight. Expecting them to come through the apartments. The smoke is not going to cover him off, so he's going to be able to take the shot, but unfortunately with the miss, I think he just has to take the option to fall back. You look at the finances currently in for the CT side, and the saved AWP will make a big, big difference.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense in this situation to go for the save. He can drop a weapon for Kickit, and maybe Sanji, yeah, he'll be able to drop a bust as well, so they're going to be able to get a full buy going, maybe missing a couple of flashbangs, but not too much. So INTZ the way back into the game, and who else but Yell pick up 2 frags and kind of be the difference maker in this round as well.
Yeah, it has been quite surprising, really, because I think that the 2 names that we've really mentioned throughout this game have been Yell and Cello over on that side, and they're not the names. Well, in terms of just not seeing KNG, that's what we've been a bit surprised by. He's going to survive on 1 HP, by the way, with that bomb going off, so very nearly took a casualty without any opponents even anywhere near. Now, I'm actually really interested to see what comes in with the buy here, because the money's really not there for the CT side. James is just going to drop over a couple of pistols, and Sanji's actually going to buy an MP9. So they're playing it fairly safe. Wow. Like, I was actually expecting them to just go all in, because that's exactly what they do on the T side, but I definitely understand them not doing it on this side.
They know that they have so many chances to get this right, so they just wait, and they know, okay, we can have at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 full buys if we play correctly, because INTZ only play around, so might as well just go for small investments in some pistols in this round. It is the logical choice and the correct choice in this case. James still with an AWP. You always have to fear him in this scenario.
Also that 5-7, like I feel like if you get in the right angle, you really can do a hell of a lot of damage, especially if a couple of shots get onto the dome, and Zand is going to be caught out. Now there isn't actually much chance, but yeah, KNG's still just waiting. I was going to say, there's not much chance of getting the gun, and that's always the thing that you want to be like almost, well, excuse the pun, gun-ho, and just run towards it. Like, I want that AK, and instead, well, just caught out. Sanji. Oh, James actually finding another.
Exactly.
This is getting a little bit dicey once again. 45 seconds left on the clock, and they're pushing in. They don't even know the Buster's here. The bomb somewhat hesitant, is looking to try and walk back a little bit. Going onto the site, Buster has been forced off the angle, but they haven't actually been ready for it. They're very lucky that he sort of shoots a little bit early, and they're going to be able to get the bomb down here.
James on 30. Out 2. Try and add a couple more to the scoreboard. A kid on James, but no utility to break into the side. But Cello's already very low. Destiny on 39. Kills to find.
Sanji back in. He already manages the first. The second so unbelievably low, but Cello still manages to hit the shot. Now, bear in mind, James with the AWP, definitely not ideal here, but wide peak coming out, maybe expecting someone to already be on the bomb. I don't really know what the decision was there from Cello, but either way, that is what ends the game. Avangar, fairly dominant fashion in the end. I think we have to say that they've definitely bounced back from the game earlier in the day. Even though they won that too, the fact that it was so close, it wasn't what we expected from a team of their caliber. We expected them to win this group. They have won this group. They've made their way into playoffs, and, well, it's deserved.
Yeah, it definitely is deserved. But then again, we can take a couple of good things away from it. KNG, who played very well in the game before, had a kind of a slow game here. But then again, Yell stepped up, Cello played a good game. They all sat around like that 80-80R for the best players, even though they lost an 8-15. So it's not terrible. I think it still has a role to play in this tournament.
Yeah, and they're in the decider match as well, so it's not like they don't have to play the loser match straight away. They get to watch the two opponents play. They're not in a bad position overall, I would say, going into tomorrow.
Well, we are, of course, done for the day, but before we leave, you, of course, have the beautiful faces over the desk to bring you some analysis.
I love the beautiful faces, he says. I kind of like Neil's look right now, too, with that jean jacket and the white T-shirt. I'm getting a very George Michael vibe from him. Anyone else thinking back to, like, the Faith days?
There you go.
I'm not going to do that
I need
again.
a gift of that for the future. We all do in esports, really.
I don't even know who George Michael is. Sorry.
You don't know who George Michael is?
No.
Wow.
I shouldn't have said that. I'm hearing a lot of moans right now.
Am, like George Michael, the one earring, Faith. You know the song Faith? No? We'll educate you after this. Don't worry.
Maybe DreamHack will play it.
Yeah.
Probably can't.
To be fair, we'll just pretend that it's late in the day, and that's what it is. It has been a long day. We'll pretend that that's why you forgot, not that it isn't late in the day. Looking at the highlights from this one, a lot of the highlights are going to be, more towards Avangar just based on the scoreline, but there were some big plays from the guys on INTZ.
Just felt like INTZ couldn't get much done on their CT side. Like, this one play from KNG was one of the only, 5 rounds they won that entire half. They had a couple here and there, but they could never really find something stable. I think it really hurt they lost that one eco round. Like, a Mag 7 loses a battle to a Glock and B apartments and all spirals out of control. I thought that was like a really big round to lose, and so they just never really found their footing. And in the second half, they never posed a threat. Avangar just kind of swallowed them up all second half long.
It definitely was an unfortunate round to lose, and actually, in fact, they lost 2 anti-eco rounds in the same half. And James came in and clutched another 1 versus 2, and he had no right winning that round. Actually, he had like 30 HP. It looked like INTZ was going to close that round out, but yeah, really unfortunate 3 rounds that should have gone in INTZ's favor, in all honesty. And Avangar, really impressive to close out those rounds.
Just another day in the office for James, dropping
For
over 30
real.
kills. This guy's just been a monster on land. Buster also had a really good game, and we don't talk about him as much because I feel like a lot of the focus is on James and on Kicker. But Buster, being one of those mid players, definitely helped him open up the middle of the map. A lot of times it helped get those entries on the A-bomb side. He definitely showed up to the office today and put in a good performance. So tip your hat to Avangar. They're one of the teams that we were expecting to have a pretty good chance to make the finals. They took care of business. They got the wins to get to the semifinals. So they get to skip tomorrow.
Definitely, and Avangar definitely showed up and showed some impressive rounds, but I gotta say, INTZ, They kind of gave it to them. I feel like they started feeling desperate a little too early in that first half. I mean, the score line early on in that match was very close. It was 5-3, and INTZ had some decent rounds, but then they started doing some really weird pushes. They started feeling desperate. Some players started feeling like they have to save the day, and that heroic part of you comes out, right? And then that's when it started falling apart, really, for INTZ.
Well, we do have Fitch standing by for a post-game interview. Fitch, you guys got to watch them play Mirage earlier today. How much did you pay attention to that game? How did that factor into this?
So, hi again, I'm back. So,
Hi, Fitch.
yes, so, I don't know, I just watched, my team watched the Mirage before, yes, so I was like, I just asked my teammate that they are sure about Mirage because they played really well against Furia team. As I know, like Furia are really good on Mirage, so I didn't understand why my teammate just picked Mirage. But anyway, just that map went easy, not too hard for us, and probably INTZ team just tired. And as I know, like KNG, Cello, EL never lose like easily, you know, like they always showing some war and some crazy matches, and just lucky on our side, so that's why we won today.
So I've got a question for you, Fitch. When you were told by your teammates that it was going to be Mirage, was there any adjustments that they told you about or you guys discussed as a unit to try to make happen before that match went live?
I don't know, like we just played like we usually play, but our captain did all work to win, actually, so he just called everything.
Wow.
I don't know how, but he know everything. He knew it. Yeah.
So I was actually kind of curious. Like, I know that the in-game leadership has kind of bounced around between Jame and Kicker. How does it work nowadays for you guys?
No, today the Jame is all like it's all the same. Like Kicker and Jame like calling together sometimes, but the captain is Jame, so he like most of rounds Jame is calling.
Yeah, so, I mean, what is it like playing with someone like Jame who's able to, you know, be a captain and call a pretty good playbook and also constantly put up big performances like he did today? How does it feel to have a teammate like that?
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice, you know, like.
I bet it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm always happy, like, if Jame was carry us, like, carry the team and making crazy games like that, like this one, so.
So you
It's
being
nice.
on Avangar, like, do you feel like this is like your opportunity to have like another chapter in your career that was successful? 'Cause I know you had some good times with Gambit when you were there. So do you really feel like Avangar can be a team that can really get up there in the international rankings? I think you're like what, like around 15 or 16 right now in the rankings. How far do you think this team can go?
So definitely yes, this is a crazy chapter in my life right now. So this guy's gonna be better and better, like year by year. So right now we are top 16 or 15 or 16, I don't know. So, but the guys just moves in front and like getting better. That's it.
All right, Fitch, I have just one more question. You guys just booked your ticket into the semifinals, which means you don't have to play tomorrow. So what is the team going to do with their day off?
Come on, man. You are in the Rio, so what you gonna do if you got
You
time
got to go to the
chill?
beach?
Beach?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, the
some
beaches.
beach.
I got to say, the
Some
beaches are
beach,
beautiful,
some
so I hope you guys
tacos,
have a good
some-
time.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, congratulations. Congratulations again on the win. I hope you guys enjoy tomorrow.
Thank you, guys.
Something tells me Fitch will find a way to have a pleasant time tomorrow in Rio.
Oh, man. I mean, we went to the beach for like 15 minutes, and it was awesome. I can't imagine having the entire day to just go and like hang out at the beach and enjoy clear, warm beach water. It's like there's something so magical about it compared to like the swill we call ocean back in New Jersey. Like,
And that water looked really blue.
Oh,
it's
that's great.
It's so incredibly blue. Now, we do have a special package to wrap up the day. It's going to be the top 5 plays of the day. Unfortunately, no aces, all 4Ks.
Still
But-
pretty good.
You know, we do start it out with, I believe this is RCF here. Or no, this is going to be Let. And it's a 4K with an up.
Yeah, definitely. Valiant's actually right now in a game that they just lost. They just lost 16-12 the Sharks, in case you were curious about that other winners best of ones. They'll be playing tomorrow in one of the decider best of threes. But yeah, you don't see Letney always popping off for that team, but definitely a good round there.
For sure, and in this clip, it's Food's 4K in that banana on Inferno. We saw E United coming out so strong and enabling Food to get these quick picks, and I like how aggressive and proactive he is here, moving up, understanding the numbers game, and seeing that he's got a clear shot with that op.
Number 3 is an absolutely raunchy pistol round from Rio. It's on Mirage.
Yeah, they definitely had a tough time this game, but they had little moments here and there, and I feel like this pistol was definitely one of those highlight moments they can look back on fondly.
And in this next clip here, this is KNG's 4K on Mirage. This happened really early on in the half, and it was so impressive to watch. I thought that this was going to be a pivotal round to turn things around for INTZ. But I got to say, if KNG keeps this performance up, it's going to be spicy.
Yeah, he's definitely been putting in the numbers, that is for sure. Certainly to be expected, and it's just, you know, when you get KNG in the server with an op, you're going to see cool things like that. And finally, we got to throw some love to our man, Yell. Definitely a really crazy pistol round clutch. It might as well have been an ace. It was a quad kill, but obviously wins off the bomb timer after getting finally taken down. But he did so well to get this round and keep his team in it.
This was really exciting to watch. I had full faith. I thought Yo was going to win or get that last kill for sure with that ace and close it out.
Yeah, I was really hopeful for him because it was like he had done so much to put himself in that position, but then, you know, we're watching the defuse and we're like, no, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it, he doesn't have it. The interesting thing is Avangar, even though they made it into the semifinals, they appeared in the top 5 plays of the day 3 times for their opponents.
And some W7M players on there as well, and they didn't actually win their matches, but they were impressive. They had really good aim and a lot of multi-kills from the individuals on that squad.
Yeah, definitely good stuff. And again, just to update you, Sharks did beat Valiant, so we do definitely have one Brazilian team into the playoffs already coming over from Group B, so definitely congrats to those guys.
And that was on Train, correct?
Yes, it was a pretty close game. Valiant's put up a fight, but in the end, Sharks were victorious, so they'll be joining Avangar as the guaranteed playoff teams.
Interesting. So we'll be seeing more of the Brazilian team later on in the tournament. But tomorrow we've got more Counter-Strike coming your way. We do appreciate you guys being patient with us with all the delays today. You guys are awesome, especially those of you that stuck with us in-house. And a big thank you to our sponsors as well, Corsair, Monster Energy, Esports Management, and GGBet. We will be live again tomorrow with more of the group stages here at DreamHack Open Rio 2019. Hope to see you then.